Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Hey, so we still were talking about that, getting out that 99%. And this your time that you want to do it. And this how I want you to start thinking. Because, see, when you on a job, you get so caught up on the job that when Donald Trump get back in office, I think they're going to put Trump in office because they want somebody who going to print some money, who going to start a war. That's what they want. And so they probably going to put Trump in the office. And that's one of the things you're going to learn too, is that a lot of times we sit and we think, oh, this a democracy. There's no democracy. You go in there and vote all you want to. That don't matter. It do not matter. And people get mad about this, but people forget the country we live in. And black people have the nerve to get mad. And it's like, listen, you was a slave. You was a slave. You really think they really counting them votes? Come on. And even if they counting the votes, that don't mean nothing. Because the person who get in there, they gonna do what they tell them to do. The powers that be, that top 0.0001%, they run all that. That's why Barack got in there as a Christian and started approving everything against the Holy Bible. He making legislation that was against the Holy Bible. And it's like, I thought you was a Christian. Because he don't get in there and get to do what he want to do. The president just become the puppet for what they want to do. And see, once you elevate to that level of knowledge and understanding, that's why Jesus said, render unto Caesar what's Caesar's. Although that was talking about taxes. That was talking about taxes, but you got to understand the big picture. It wasn't just talking about taxes. Yes, it's dealing with taxes. But the big picture on that was, he was saying, let that over there do what it do. He telling me right now, Tony, you need to pay your doggone taxes before they have you in somebody's jail. And so he said, let that do what it do. You render unto Caesar what's Caesar's, and you render unto God what's God's. And that's what I need you to realize and understand. And so how you get out that 99% is you start shifting your mind. Like right now, where you at with what you doing. Because people talk about, all the time, people talk about manifesting. Listen, that manifesting stuff, it ain't what we think it is when you're a Christian. See, when you're a Christian, what manifesting means is speaking things into existence, calling those things that are not to be as though they were. That's really what manifesting is for Christians. But see, a lot of times people just try to talk about manifesting, but without God in it. They try to talk about it like a genie in the bottle, like, oh, you just can say this right here and you're going to get a Lamborghini. You can say this right here, you're going to get a Porsche. That manifesting stuff ain't real without Christ. See, people will get that stuff, but really what they don't understand is it's just the mind. That's how the mind works. The way the mind works is when you speak something, your mind hears you and your mind believes you. See, with the subconscious and the conscious mind connected, if you say, hey, I want a Mercedes-Benz, you're going to start thinking about that Mercedes-Benz. And you're going to start to visualize, how can I get this Mercedes-Benz? Then you're going to say, okay, I got to get this credit up. Then you're going to go to get that credit up. Okay, I got to earn a little more money. Then you're going to think about that business. So you start to think about this thing. And this is what starts to elevate you and take you to that next level. Now, how does this here work? Okay. So I could buy me some water. Okay. Okay, I see. So you just get you some water. Get your little item. Boom. Hit the little pavement. Boom. Just like that. With nobody here. Look at that. Technology. Look at that thing. I just went up there, got my drink, waiting on my wife to come pick me up. She's gonna have to call me in a little bit, so I'm gonna have to go. And so when she called me, I got to go. So this might be a 3-part video today. And so when you start to realize that, then you start to move toward it. So what you got to start doing right now is you got to start speaking what you want to do. Now, one thing about it is like I could have a vision, right? See, for me, it's different because I'm married. So if you're married, then you understand this. So let's say I want to start a coffee shop. Well, I got to ask my wife, baby, what you think about a coffee shop? And then that's sobering because it look cool, it sound cool, but what she gonna do is she gonna hit me with, okay, let's say you sell a cup of coffee, it's $5. Let's say you have 5 people come in, you made $25 before expenses, before taxes, before paying your staff. You made $25. If you paying the staff $15 an hour and they work for 8 hours that day or 10 hours, you paid $150 that day and you made $25. That might be your first 6 months of business. Are you ready for that? Then I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I might need to think about this thing a little more. And so this what you have to look at. So this is what you have to look at. And you start to count the cost. And the reason why you count this cost is because what you want to happen is you can't be in the 99% and thinking like a 99%er. When you're in the 99%, you got to think like a 1%er. And the reason why you thinking like a 1%er is because you might play you a little bit of lotto. Well, when you play you a little bit of that lotto, which, you know, the Bible talks about getting quick wealth and all that, how you get it fast, you lose it fast. Let's say you play your little bit of lotto, because you ain't perfect. You love the Lord, but you play your little lotto, play your little Mega Millions. Let's say you mess around and you win 50,000. You win 100,000. Guess what? If you've been thinking about opening your hair salon, if you've been thinking about opening your coffee shop, if you've been thinking about opening your window restaurant, walk-up window restaurant, if you've been thinking about that, now, with that 50,000, with that 100,000, you finna run a play. You finna start that business. You finna make that happen. And you finna create something that could make you money for the rest of your life. If you have not been thinking about that, because a lot of people are like, why am I think about that when I ain't got it and I ain't got a means to get it? It's just gonna stress me out. No, it ain't. It's gonna make you more resourceful, and it's gonna make you ready for when it happens. So that when it happen, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, boom. It done happened. It done happened. I'm here now. I'm ready now. It done happened. And so now you able to activate, you able to make a move. So this what I want you to think about, and this how I want you to be thinking. I want you to be thinking about this. I want you to be processing it, because that way, when it happens, you ready for it. You ready for it when it happens. And the thing about it is, I was listening, I watched this thing the other day, and it was called Restless Billionaire. The man just thought big. He thought big. If you study almost any billionaire, they went broke at one point. Like even Elon Musk, he practically went broke. But momentum, I never forget when a guy said that to me. He said momentum creates momentum. Because we did a film project and we was promoting it or whatever, and people started to reach out, and he said momentum create momentum. I was like, man, that deep, boy. Momentum create momentum. So think about this. If this billionaire, he hadn't went broke, but he had an uncle who had money. He wanted to buy a seat on Wall Street. The man last name is Icahn. A-C-A-H-N. Something like that. It's crazy. It sounds like Icahn, right? He did some of the biggest acquisitions in the history of the U.S., like buying companies with his firm. And his firm would buy these companies. He'd have these investors, and he would go in, and he'll put in like $2.5 billion into Apple and buy 1%, 10%. He will buy a 10% stake in these companies. So it get him a position on the board. And by buying so much, he now get a position on the board. And by having this position on the board, he's now able to meet the CEO. And then by meeting the CEO, he's able to tell the CEO what he want him to do. And because he's the largest shareholder, his company is the largest shareholder in this company, the CEO listen to him. Because if he say, okay, you don't want to listen, I'm gonna take my money out then. We're gonna go invest in your competitor. It's business. So let me tell you what he did at Apple. He brought his son on, his son a young gun, his son thinking, his son whatever, making move, boom, 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 blase, blase. So they mind work different. I try to let my son run my TikTok. He just was grabbing viral videos, but it really didn't speak to the moment. It was old videos, and one did all right, the other two did trash. Life lesson. And so he taking in, he brought his son in, his son say, listen, Apple's sitting on such and such billions in cash money. They sitting on cash. They don't own it. They haven't bought their own stock. So let's go in. Let's make this play. Let's buy 10%. They bought 10% of Apple, or how many of a percent of Apple? And then this man had dinner with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. Brought Tim Cook to his house and said, hey, what you think about y'all buying some of y'all stock? Instead of just sitting in cash, buy some of your stock. Tim Cook was with it. So this man took and bought these stock. Let's say he bought the stock when it was $10 a share. Well, when Tim Cook take and buy 100 billion worth of their own stock, that shoot that stock price up to $100 or whatever. It goes up. So now Icahn just flipped his bread just by getting a position, getting a connection, making a proposition, and then the execution. Now he done made money. So now I'm thinking, shoot, I could do that in my own level. I could do that in my own level. I could go to the shoe store. Hey, I want to buy 10%, man, $20,000, $50,000. Then, boom, go do that. Then go use my connections, bring in 3 other investors who drop 100. Then we use that money, we run advertisements. Now this shoe store, it starts doors swinging. Now it get franchised. Now it's franchised, and we getting a 10% franchise fee. We getting a 100K startup fee. So now the company making money several different ways. Now I'm not finna do that because it's too much headache, too much logistics. And that's one thing they kept saying about Icahn. His kids say he just never was there. He worked so hard. He worked so hard. He was always working. And some men just don't understand. Now he working with his kids. They grown now. They doing good. They work for him. They loving life. So it didn't destroy them because he still was in the home. But me, I don't want to be known as a serial worker. Just always working, always working, always working. I want my kids to be able to see me have time, freedom. So I'm taking my time and I'm thinking through, because it's opportunities that come to me to where it might be 100K that get dropped on me at one time. It might be 200K that get dropped on me at one time. You know, I own 10 acres of land. I'm thinking, do I want to build a retreat house? Do I want investors and partners and build this retreat house and treat it like a serene Florida retreat for people who've been working too hard or stressed out or in recovery or just went through a divorce or whatever it may be, just to get away and be serene, be peaceful? I'm thinking about that. Do I want to do something by myself, or do I want to bring in partners? Do I want to invest in something that's already got motion, already rolling, or I want to do my own thing? So think about this. Think about it. And I want you to be able to process, really process, and think about, okay, when my opportunity comes. Like I have coached clients who they was a 99%er. They was in that 99%. And they got in a car wreck and they got a lump sum of money. Or they went through a divorce and they got a lump sum of money. Or they sold their house and they got a lump sum of money. I done coached so many people that done had different scenarios. Family member died, they got insurance. Several people in each one of those examples. And I'm coaching all these different people. But the one thing that I noticed is to my knowledge that I could think of, just right off the top, I can't think of one who have taken that lump sum of money and invested into a business, invested into something that created momentum. Now, I could think of a guy I know named Matthew A. Cherry. His mom passed away and he was left with $400,000 in insurance money. He took that $400,000 and he told me, I know she would want me to invest in my dream. And he produced a movie called The Last Fall. The Last Fall was put on Netflix. The star in the movie was Lance Gross. The movie was written by Matthew Cherry, talking about the last fall, because football season is in the fall, and Matthew made it to the NFL like training camp. So it was his last fall. And he wrote the movie, Lance Gross starred in it. I never watched it. It's hard for me sometimes to watch low budget movies, but I'm gonna watch it when I get some time and just try to get through it. But sometimes that acting be so terrible, I'll be having secondhand embarrassment. But I wanna see what he did with that 400K. So he invested that. Lance Gross, a lot of y'all know Lance Gross. He got Lance Gross in that movie. And he told me he got Lance Gross to star in that movie for $3,000. A lot of times people, and that's another reality check, because a lot of times you look at a celebrity and you think, okay, I see this celebrity, I see him in 10 movies, he made $150,000 a movie, that's 1.5 million right there. No, that movie right there that looked like a real movie, looked like a good movie, you would assume he made $150,000, you would assume he made all this and that, he made $3,000. That's how a celebrity could still be sleeping on somebody's couch, their friend couch, or still living with their parents, because everything ain't what it seems. You could see somebody in a big old mansion and they be flat broke, and they make just enough to take care of that mortgage. And you think that because they in this big old mansion, they filthy rich, when they literally now at a point of just maintaining. They make enough in royalties or enough in residuals to take care of their mortgage and car note, and that's it. They property taxes. And so that might be $100,000, that might be $200,000, $300,000 a year. And here you is working a job and you making $250,000 a year, and you don't, and you paycheck to paycheck with no savings, and you looking up at this celebrity and you think this celebrity is super rich when you actually make more than the celebrity. I done had so many times, me having a big brand, I done had so many times where I'm talking to a client and the client got more money than me. And the client is crying about being broke, being paycheck to paycheck, being in a dead-end job, and don't realize they got more money than me. But it's just our perception and how we look at people and how we look at things. And so that's why I want you to start thinking different, start stretching. Like people look at me and they'll think that I got more money than I do, but I understand how money works. So I'll take and I'll splurge on a private jet. I'll spend the money on a private jet and I'll post that on my Instagram because you know what that private jet creates? It creates brand equity. So if somebody see me getting on a private jet, that represents success. But the thing about it is, there could be somebody who start a company, and because they've never searched private jets, they don't realize that they could get on a private jet and fly from their city to another city for $300 because they've never Googled Uber for private jets. I've Googled that. So because I've Googled that, I found companies that you could sign up for $500. Sign up for $500 and they have what they call empty legs. And they'll have an empty leg from my city going to another city. Now I got to drive back from that other city, which may be an hour, 2 hours away. That ain't nothing. Or I may have to fly commercial back. So one time I went from my city to Houston. And then me and my dad flew first class back. But we rode on a private jet to Houston for like $300, something like that. Because it was an empty leg, so I was able to book the plane for $300 because the plane had to go there anyways. And I was a member in that jet company for $500. So let's say you start a real estate company. Let's say you're a realtor. Let's say you're a mortgage broker. Let's say you're a hairstylist. Let's say you're a cook. Let's say you're a barber. Whatever it is, you take and you get snazzy. You put on a nice outfit that costs you a little bit of money, or it looked like it costs money, and it come from a little brand that nobody know about, but it looked real good, real simple, elevated, and you go get on that private jet. Everybody who see you on Facebook and Instagram, they now coming to you for your service because they like, your service must be so good, your food must be so good, your hairdos must be so good, the way you treat your real estate clients must be so good that it done got you to the point to where you on a private jet. Because when somebody Google private jet from their city to this other city, they gonna see that it start at $5,000 for just going 1 hour. So now they're gonna be like, man, and that's a little bitty plane. You on the wing of the plane. So then they're gonna look and they're gonna see that they're gonna see rates up to $100,000, and they're gonna be floored. And now that they floored, they like, I got to do business with them. And so honestly, what happens is, by you stretching your mind, so people think, when I go to a game, I sit courtside. I sit courtside because that stretched my mind. I'm not finna sit up there in the nosebleeds. I go broke, spend a little bit more money, and I sit courtside. And guess what? When I sit courtside, I'm sitting next to somebody who got real money. I'm sitting next to somebody, I'm networking with somebody who now could become a client of mine because they need a life coach. I'm sitting next to somebody who now finna invite me to this event, invite me to that event. Now I wanna connect, now I wanna exchange numbers. I'm sitting next to my, hey, what you do, man? Boom, hey, I do this. Boom, I'm trying to do this. Boom, we work out a deal. Hey, man, we'll build your house. We'll build your house. We'll put you on a payment plan because we got the capital. We got a big infusion from Trump. We still sitting on money, man. We build a house and we do a payment plan for our people that we build houses for. I wouldn't have met the owner of that development company, that construction company, sitting in the nosebleeds. But I stretch. So when you stretch, don't just stretch to make something happen. I dropped the ball on one of the jets because the pilot told me his friend owned this jet that I just flew on. I should have got that pilot phone number. I should have got that pilot phone number so I could hit him and he could hit his friend, and I could have been using that jet at a fraction of the cost of what I paid to charter it with that company. I dropped the ball. So I might have to do I might have to do the jet program one more year, and I'm gonna get the phone number of each pilot, and I'm gonna get such such John Doe pilot, Chris Smith pilot, Tommy Bean pilot, so that when I get to the point where I got me a plane, I got 10 pilots. Or one of these pilots, they're gonna know the owner of the plane. And I'm a network. They gonna get them a little cut. If I'm booking it through them, now they cut out the jet charter company and they get them a little cut. The charter company don't tell you can't do that. They can't tell you what to say, what not to say. This your money you spending. So when you stretch, you got to think. If you stretch and you go to a fancy hotel, when you go to the pool and you get up out your seat and you go to the pool bar to get you something to drink, talk to the man or the woman that's right there while y'all waiting on your drinks. Hey, how you doing? You love it here? You come here often? Boom, stretch your mindset. This how you go from the 99 to the 1%. Stretch your mindset. I remember when I looked a long time ago, top 1%, it was like you make $365,000 a year. Next time I looked, it was like $750,000 a year, being the top 1%, something like that. I think right now it might be 1.2 million. I don't know, but things keep going up. Why? Because people stretching their mind, people taking advantage of the opportunity, people taking these stimulus checks, these PPP, these infusions, credit cards, business credit, and they turning it into their dreams. What they've been dreaming about, what they've been thinking about when they was broke. So this man, Icon, his uncle had $400,000. He had $400,000 and say, and his uncle gave him $400,000, and he bought a seat on Wall Street. He bought a seat on Wall Street, and he started an investment firm, and they started investing in companies. He had did something like buying into options or doing something, and he went broke. From what he was doing, the market crash, he lost everything. And then, but because he had the idea, because he had the money mindset, he was able to get right back in. And so this is what I want you to think about. Like, you have an opportunity to where you can make something happen, but you got to be ready for it. Like, you could be in New York. Let's say you in New York and you ride the train. Well, in New York, Wall Street ride the train. A lot of Wall Street ride the train. A lot of hedge fund ride the train. So when you get on that train, you looking good. Your hair is nice. Your nails is nice. Your clothes is nice. This for men too. Your hair nice. You walk around here looking like 12 years a slave. Don't nobody want to talk to you. You remind them of slavery. They not racist. They not even racist, and you reminding them of what they great-great-great-great-grandfather was doing as a slave master, because you looking like 12 years a slave. Have your hair nice, have your skin nice, have your nails nice, and have on a nice outfit. When you see this man and he got this suit on, he ain't got this suit on for no reason. Strike up a conversation. He might be a doorman. Okay, cool. You talk to a doorman, you humble. The next time you keep talking to these men in these suits, you're gonna talk to a hedge fund manager. And when you tell them your business idea and you say, I'm trying to get funding for my business idea, do you know anybody? They might have a little low-hanging fruit. Somebody that wanna invest in a new startup and they got this much money. They ain't got no whole bunch of money. They got this much money. Boom. Right there, because you networking. That's also a mind stretch. You ain't have to spend no money. The only money you spending is the same money you're gonna spend to get home. But you stretch your mind by getting out of, oh, I ain't gonna say nothing, oh, I ain't gonna talk to nobody, oh, I ain't gonna do this, oh, I ain't gonna do that. I'm shy, I'm an introvert. You stretch your mind and you talk to somebody. Now you talking to somebody, and now you get to build, you get to network, you get to meet this person, and that's how you going to the next level. And so I want you to think outside the box. Think outside the box, press to the next level, and start getting uncomfortable and start getting prepared to go to the next level. And it's gonna change your life. I'm telling you, it's gonna change your life. It's all about a mind stretch. It's all about using your faculties and your resources, your ingenuity, your creativity, and just using your mind, and it's gonna stretch you. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. so blessed to be able to finish this 30-minute video before my wife called me. She dropping off Tatum. So she probably just not dropping them off and about to call me any second. God bless you. We'll talk soon. Stay tuned. Make sure you set them notifications so that when I'm getting, these jewels gonna be in love and relationship, business, self-development, health and wellness. We building the whole person. Brains, brand, body. This the 3B movement. We ain't studying them 4Bs. Now they talking about the men that started the 5B. This the 3B movement. Brains, brand, body. 3B movement. If you got a blog, write an article for me on the 3B movement by Tony Gaskin Jr. and break it down, brains, brand, body, on your blog. So that way when somebody Google it, your blog gonna come up in the Google search, because I ain't never wrote a thing about it. My videos come up, YouTube videos, but write a blog about it on your blog. God bless you. We'll talk soon.